Hi, my name is Mark Hagan. I'm Head of Transformation Delivery here at the Co-op. I've been here for nearly 5 years and it's a fantastic place to be. So we've been working with Grayce for several years now, and it's really interesting to see just how many people have come through that relationship so far. I think we've had over 120 analysts who've come through the Co-op from Grayce over that time in a whole variation of roles. Traditionally, we've had people coming through in what you might consider the more traditional project roles, so things like project managers, PMO, business analysts. Actually, we've had lots of people who've come into things like the strategy team or in different roles in technology, into architecture and all sorts of other places within the organisation. I think we've got something like 25, 30 analysts at the moment. It's hard to tell because we've got Grayce analysts in so many different parts of the organisation. We've also had great success in attracting some of those analysts to come and work for us on a permanent basis. We have almost half the business analysis team has joined us via being a Grayce analyst, and it's brilliant to see that development in people's careers through. And equally, some of those people who've joined us in those roles have gone on to bigger roles within the organisation. So clearly the partnership wouldn't have lasted as long if we didn't get such great analysts coming through in the first place. We get people who've got great skills, we also get people who've got great latent capability that can be developed into skills with some practice and experience. When they land on the ground on day one, they're productive, they've been trained, they've been told about us, they've got some idea of how we operate, and they've probably met people in the Co-op, not just our people, but also other Grayce analysts who are working with us, which is brilliant. They have a really good wraparound service, which means we'll have a functional consultant who will come in, help train those individuals in the training they need. And that may be things we identify as line managers within the organisation. So for example, here's a technique in business analysis, or be great to understand a little bit more about Agile. And often you'll see someone downstairs talking people through that. It may also be from the individual analysts who'll say, I need some help in some of this. So they'll go out, they'll ask their colleagues for some help, and there's that professional support within Grayce that means it's always on hand to have the coaching and mentoring alongside the professional and developmental training that they might require as a professional project manager, whatever particular career they might be working towards. So right now, Co-op's this really interesting growth phase, and we're doing lots of interesting new things. So things like Co-op Live and our presence festivals, but much more than that. And of course, the interesting thing about that as you move into a growth phase is that sometimes your resourcing needs change quite quickly, and being able to react to that in a really fast moving way can be really interesting. It's been brilliant working with Grayce, who can provide us with analysts really quickly in all sorts of different disciplines and skills. There's some really niche skill sets that can be really hard to find at the minute. So I think of things like business analysis and change analysts and the likes, as well as the more traditional project managers and PMO. And knowing that if we ask, we can get a few CVs through really quickly, often who are geographically very close to us, and they can get involved in some of those really big programs and projects. So we've had Grayce colleagues working on some really interesting projects over the years as well, doing some really interesting things. So I think, for example, about Brexit. Brexit was a big change to the retail environment. We take goods to Northern Ireland and we're shipping things across this new change in trading arrangements. We had one of our Grayce analysts, Jess, who was really embedded in that, actually was the go-to person for rules about some of those shipping that got as far as having big external groups coming to look at how we did it and asking Jess as the expert on leading some of those things. We changed how we operate in our retail environment. We had a massive program called Retail Business Transformation. That was introducing SAP and JDA into our retail space. We had a load of Grayce analysts who were involved in the detail of that, both in project management and PMO, but also in business analysis. And it's from that, a number of those have come on to Co-op on a permanent basis. But we had one of the cutovers of that entire process was being led by a Grayce analyst. So the PMO manager happened to be on holiday that day, and she said, you know, I have complete faith in Holly as the person who's going to lead the cutover weekend. As part of that. That was a huge piece of work, and that went really well. And as I said before, it's not just about being involved in some of those big programs and projects that's really interesting. It's people who'll just grab hold of things, who'll say things like, hey, can I help organise the next team away day? Or can I get involved in this new thing that's being put together, and use their own time to really get involved in the organisation, drive it and be really good colleagues within the organisation. We'll continue to recruit people into on a permanent basis that have come through the Grayce pipeline, and there are more people coming through that talent pipeline into us at the moment. Right now, we're actively talking to a few Grayce colleagues about potential new roles in the Co-op, and it's really exciting to see an organisation like Grayce really helping us in that growth strategy that we're currently embarking on.